guest, I'll allow my guest to introduce himself to the show.
Cheers, Fortune, aka T.
What up, though? What up, though, cuz? You know what I mean? I ran into my cuz at the gas station out of all places today. You know what I mean? It's Freestyle Friday. I need for each and every one of you guys to like, comment, subscribe, and share to the show. You know, I'm at the motherfucking gas station just getting off of work. I'm in line and I'm looking like, is that my motherfucking cousin? And I looked, I'm like, hell no, so we just sitting here. I brought him back to the crib with me. We downstairs in the studio getting ready to chop it up. It's Freestyle Friday. Normally E Skeezy is doing the show with me, but he's unavailable. So, I got Cuz with me. What the dealio, Cuz? Talk to me.
Like you say, we ain't seen each other in a long time, and we had tried to communicate and get in contact, but we just so happened to run to the gas station. So yeah, it's a blessing.
Sir, yes, sir. It's always a blessing to see family, man. And like I was telling, we look like we got somebody joining the show. The chat is open. I need for everybody who's watching the show. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. It's Freestyle Friday. I'm about to first and foremost. I'm about to make sure everybody can hear me good. Okay, I hear it. So everybody can hear me. Let me mute that. So yeah, it's always a good look when you run and you see family. You know what I mean? Like I was telling Cuz in the beginning, you know, it's always a good look when you see family. We got T1 Taylor that just made a comment. What up, though? What up with you?
What up, though, bro?
Yeah. So it's like I was telling Cuz, I'm like, it's always good to see Cuz. I got him over with me. So you may or may not hear echo because he's in the same spot with me. We going live, we at the crib. So that's probably why if you do hear echo, but family is family. It's always love when you see your family. But T Fortune, what's been good, man?
Man, what's been good?
Yes, sir.
God,
That's
God about the only thing been good around here, man. Everybody else on some bullshit.
okay, okay. God is always good all the time. If you can't count on nobody else, you can always count on
Oh,
God.
man would definitely fail you. God never will.
For sure. You can never put all your hope on your blessings or what's the word that I'm looking for? You can't
Trust
depend. Yeah, you can't
in
put trust in man because he'll
your
let you
faith,
down every time.
your faith, man, because they gonna fail you every time.
For
That's just the
sure.
way it's designed and set up. Don't do it. You hear me?
Yes, sir.
You
You
got to
can't.
depend on God.
Okay. Let me know if everybody can hear me. You got T1 Taylor. He said topics is Katila food style. What up though? Okay, okay, that's who that is. Yeah, like I said, I'm just sitting here chopping it up with my cuz, ran into him at the store and brought him back. We chopping it up. Normally I would do the setup, from a different setup, but I just want to go live right now. But one thing I do want to talk about, which I know about this Rodney, the Ryan Hinton situation. The young man who was murdered a couple last Friday by the Cincinnati police officer. It's Freestyle Friday, so we're just going to talk about any and everything. I want to talk a little bit, about that conversation a little bit. There's been a lot more evidence that's been coming out that the Cincinnati police has been trying to cover up. So, everybody that's watching, I want you guys to, comment and tell me what you think about that situation. Have you any of you guys saw that video? Because there's definitely been a cover up. And the family is definitely getting needs to hire have their attorney that they have hired to do a little bit more investigation, on that case. So Terry, I don't know if you're familiar with the situation. When we talked about the situation for a little bit, the Cincinnati police basically show still photos and is trying to give a narrative that the police officer feared for his life. It's clearly been shown that the young man was shot in his back. Give me your opinion on what you think about the situation that, the young man jumped out the car. He was just trying to get away, and the officer ended up shooting him in his back. Oh, and this is what I want to talk about before you answer that question, Terry. You know, um, there's been more evidence that the same cop that shot Ryan Hinton in the back, he's been under investigation for a few other cases that what's the word that I'm looking for? That he had other that he's under investigation for damn, what's the word that I'm yeah, police brutality. And you gotta excuse me, the topics in tequila, the tequila that definitely don't set in tonight, so I'm a little tipsy right now. So y'all gotta excuse me right now. But yeah, it's been evidence that
Ain't that's how it is with all of them though. Like,
say that again, T.
that's how it is with all of them though. At the end of the day,
Yeah, no, but evidence
once you
has
start digging into the
yeah,
history of
listen, they dug into
all
this.
of them, be having a history of been doing some racial stuff before. They still be part of the department. They still be able to run out there on the loose and do what they want to do. And it ain't till after they didn't kill somebody and got caught or videotape themselves doing it, right. That oh no, they ain't supposed to do that. You know what I'm saying? That's the issue.
Yeah.
Well, so what about all the time they had the camera off? They didn't get down. And then this ain't nothing new. They've been doing this since beginning of time, since we've been mingling with each other. They've been killing us stuff like that. So, this ain't nothing new. Either they gonna kill you or they gonna some more you or they gonna,
Yeah.
make it seem whatever you did, make it like more than what it was to punish you just 10 times as they and then they just gonna let them slide. They gonna act like they see them.
Okay. Well, yeah, no, I agree with you, cuz what, and this shit been going on for years, but this shit has got to stop, and I think it's getting ready to come to an end, with this cover up, with this "I fear for my life" bullshit that most of
Yeah.
these officers try to
Right.
use when they murder and kill a black man, you know. Because at the end of the day, the evidence that I'm talking about that came out today, the same undercover, these were undercover officers that they caught on tape. The Cincinnati Police Department tried to lie, and I'm gonna tell y'all where y'all can actually go see the video. Taylor House Publishing, he the one who put the original video out, breaking everything out. That's where I got this information. But yeah, you can actually see the tattoo um, of the white officer when he jumped out of the car. And it's a tattoo of a cross, and this cross that he got tattooed on his arm symbolizes a white supremacist group.
Right.
And the
Right.
same officer,
Right.
has been under investigation for police brutality, and some other things, So, and that's why originally the Cincinnati Police Department did not want to put his name or his information out. So I need for you guys to, what, and I'm gonna ask you that question,
Can
Terry.
I do this
They
though?
definitely been covering it up. So tell me
Cuz,
why you
cuz,
think they didn't want to release his name.
question though, cuz,
Go ahead.
cuz. If you a cop on the street, and I'm the chief, and he the mayor, but we all on the same shit. Shit, I'm gonna do your thing as long as possible.
Mm.
Man, keep doing what you doing, nigga. We got you. Then at the end of the day, even if worst case scenario, right, we still got you. Feel what I'm talking about?
Yeah. You
So
know
you
what?
been to kill about 5, 6 niggas, then put about 150 of them in jail for some shit they ain't even did, or whatever, you know what I'm saying, the situation is, and fucked up 300 black lives, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, it's crazy, man, but it's just what we facing, and then people who ain't even thinking about this, and they want to come through like we ain't even thinking about the real.
Right. Now I want to get to the chat for a second, Terry. You got Taiwan Taylor. He made a comment and said he should already be convicted if that's the case. I agree. Freedom Fighter also said, yo, Snoop Doggy Dog. What freedom
Come on,
fighter,
there you go.
Yo Dog King.
That's one of them.
Taiwan Taylor also said it should be something like a new law that automatically investigates how ass shit like this. Freedom fighter said, "Big up, friends. What up, though? You know, but yeah, you know, these same police, just like I said, the same officers that shot, Ryan Hinton, less than 5 seconds has already been up under investigation before this case even started. You know, the Cincinnati Police Department has definitely, didn't want to release his name in the beginning, but his name has now been released, so we know who he is now.
Hey,
You
hey,
know what I mean?
cuz,
Go ahead.
can I tell you something I had a dream
Go
about?
ahead.
I had a dream one day that we really wasn't from Africa. Like it was black people already up in America when Christopher Columbus came, and they really us while we was already over here and took over the land, and all the shit we knew they was taking advantage of us and using us for what we know, but they could profit off of it. And it's like the same shit is still going on today, but it was like, damn, let's see, like this shit been going on for, it was like I had a dream about that, and I think it's true. Like I think we the Indians, we the Native Americans, and they just been lying to us and tricking us, and so it's like the same thing. They keep going on. So like what happened to them is the same thing that happened 200-300 years ago, 100 years ago, 200 years. Like they catch them slipping and they killing them. Judge working with him. He said, "Oh no, I agree with him. He was scared for his life." Like how many times we seen that? Like they done got away with some bullshit because he's talking about all was scared, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, we think he was scared too." Like man, get the fuck out! How he ain't even got that.
Right.
You
Yeah.
feel me? But you talking about you was scared.
Right.
Like, well, what about when they killed that lady from talking about she was going to put hot water on? You remember that?
Yeah, I did a show. I did a show about that, cuz. But yeah,
that was crazy.
I'm gonna get to the comments. Back to the comments. Taiwan Taylor said even armed forces in a whole another country, it rules of engagement. Yes, Taylor also said there is no excuse on why they wouldn't release his shit. The reason why they didn't release his shit because he was already under investigation for police brutality. And some other shit, So they didn't want to release this information because at the end of the day, it would have made the police department look bad, and then it would have
about them
made
shooting
him
people with
look
these
guilty.
guns too, though, cuz that I'm thinking about real quick. How you know he lawfully ain't had a gun, right? But
Right.
running because he was scared, because he don't really know. He might lawfully had the gun,
Right.
and you see, you know what I mean? You don't know, but you shooting before it's even a real threat. You feel what I'm
Exactly.
saying?
Yeah.
So as soon as you see a gun, they give you an excuse to kill somebody when you don't know whether they got it legally or not. You know what I'm saying?
No, I agree with you.
And that's wrong.
I agree with you because in Ohio is an open carry state. So they did not know if he had the right to have that firearm on him.
It could just been
That just let
or any of that. You know what I'm saying? You don't know. And if ain't nobody shot it,
exactly. So and that goes back to, what I'm talking about. That's why Taiwan Taylor, that's why they did not release originally his name or any of his information because he was already under investigation for doing the same shit. You know what I mean? To other people, police brutality, fucking motherfuckers up, doing all type of dirty shit.
he was getting away.
So they didn't want to release this, because he was already under investigation. So before this murder that he did even happen, so they didn't want to release that on top of that, because um, they're just basically, just trying to stick behind, that blue line, just trying to tell us anything. You know what I mean? And thinking we was gonna believe that shit with those still photos that they was trying to show. And I need for you guys to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Definitely go over to Taylor House Publishing. He put out all that shit. You know what I mean? He broke it down. They tried to edit that shit, but they failed. And that whole department needs to be indicted. You know what I mean? You have Max Invader, remember to invade. Oh man, hey, look, cool coming in with that bullshit.
Listen, I'm just gonna tell y'all how it is, man. We can't coexist with the white man. We need our own shit that we running and controlling. We got control of. They ain't got control of. As long as they got control of anything that we involved in, we ain't gonna never advance to the stage that we need to because they're in control. You think that they gonna let you get control of what they're in control of?
Listen,
Make it make sense.
listen, and I agree with you 100%. We as black folks, listen.
It
And
ain't
this
gonna
is
never
this,
happen.
this is something that we've been talking about. That we have to be able to build our, but
Since we got out of
that's going to be
slavery.
almost
We've been
impossible.
talking about this same shit since we got out of slavery. Is
You
we
know
gonna
how
deal with
how
it
can
and work with the white
you,
man? No, fuck no.
see
Either
my,
you
my
fuck
que-
on or either tell him we need our own state, our own shit. You can't come up here running shit. If you bring your white state when we running shit, we gonna
But
have
what our people fail to realize that we did have land set aside for black people to go. I'm gonna just keep it honest. Most black people love being up under the wing of white people. You know what I mean? Yeah. But not to get off topic.
man already got it set up for
Yeah, not to get off topic. Taiwan Taylor, he wasn't a threat at all. No, he was not a threat. You can clearly on the photos from when the officer took that
what
first
about
shot, you can see the gun smoke coming out of the gun, and his back was already turned. You know what I mean? It was a clear cut. That the young man was shot in the back. They trying to say that he was shot in the arm and the bullet went through and came out his chest.
I mean
I guarantee you, the autopsy
black
report
people didn't
said that he was shot in the back.
George Floyd. He wasn't no threat either. How many people didn't die since
I agree.
real
You
though?
know, and
You can go on there and look up it almost every day in some somewhere that guy young guy killed by the police or something for no reason.
see, and I want to say this to you, cuz I don't know if you see, and cuz may I don't think cuz is familiar. He's not familiar with the case, so I'm getting ready to tell him what actually happened after the murder. The father saw
You
the
did
actual video, and he went and ran over a police officer. So I want to ask you guys, Taiwan Taylor, I want you to respond to that. Do
salute
you think what his father did? Do you
salute to
think
his father.
do you think shit like that needs to happen more often? When they unjustified and kill one of our peoples, do we need to take one of theirs out?
Boy father.
Or did his father set a precedent for that to happen?
Man, that boy father was a real nigga at the end of the day. For real dog. I probably did the same shit. You got me fucked up. You done killed my son for no reason. You know what I'm talking about? That's who I plan on living through. And niggas, it's gone. Cause you out here on watch this. Peace.
Yeah, a lot of people calling him a hero. Give me you guys' opinion. What do you think? Do you think the father um what he did was justified? You know what I mean? And I'm not saying at the end of the day, it should bring awareness to what he did, and to what these cops are doing to our people. That look, I think he's definitely setting a precedent, on future cops who go out there and murder innocent young black men and innocent black men, and women. You know what I mean? Because just like Cuz brought up, a show that I did not too long ago, about 4 or 5 months ago, where you had the young woman who called the police. They end up coming out there, you know, murdering this young woman, all because they so-called feel threatened. You know what I mean? So yeah, over some hot water. So exactly. So these are the words that I said in one of my previous shows, that we got to take this word out of their vocabulary. They can't continue to use "I fear for my life," because every time we try to use that shit, same thing with the Carmelo Anthony case that's going on now to this present day. This young man feared for his life. And they're trying to convict this man before the jury's even selected. You know what I mean? When we try to use those same words, it's not it's overlooked. You know what I mean? So they got to take that bullshit out of their vocabulary because to me, it's nothing more than a key word, for them to be able to use that word to be able to murder innocent people and not just black people. White folks even been murdered using that same vocabulary. I fear for my life, but it always seemed like to me, it's more on the black side that, that they murder using those words, because not just earlier this week, you had a white man who pulled out a motherfucking AR-16 and pointed it at the motherfucking police, and they did nothing. You know what I mean? Yep, they did nothing. Yeah, you can just come on over here and cuz phone died out, so he gonna come over here and chop it up. He gonna come in with me. But yeah, they it seems like they know when and when not to like when they're dealing with their people, it seems like they have all the resistance, all the you gotta excuse me.
You know what make it some garbage.
What's that?
I don't really like, really want to cuss. I know you be cussing on here, but
no, go ahead, man. Speak your mind.
You know what make this shit some bullshit?
What's that?
How you pursuing a nigga talking about you scared for your life?
Exactly.
And you chasing this nigga.
Listen, those officers and
any black motherfuckers out there ever been on anything, right? How you chasing a nigga talking about you scared?
See, and that goes back to
what scared motherfucker. You don't want to run.
Right. That goes back to the word that I was saying.
The motherfucking down.
These are the key words that they use to be able to shoot and kill a motherfucker. I fear for my life. And those words need to come out of that vocabulary. You know what I mean? Hey, you wouldn't be chasing. You would be running that motherfucker. Right? Exactly. You see
and wait on some motherfucker else body to go chase his ass or something. Right. Got to figure out where he going from a distance.
I agree with you. Yeah. So but yeah, let me see if Taiwan answered that question. Dude basically tried to get away. Tyrone Taylor also said he wasn't a threat at all. No, he wasn't. I think I answered that question. But yeah, so these are the things that we have to continue to stay on top of, and make sure that these motherfuckers not getting away with this. We have to report this shit, make sure, and I need for you guys to make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, and share. You know what I mean? Put this shit out, so other people can see it. Make sure that you go over to Taylor House Publishing because he put out great videos about what happened. You know what I mean? And he broke the whole video down about the actual police officer who shot Ryan Hinton. It wasn't it was an undercover cop. The Cincinnati Police Department, I believe they shot him 5 times, I believe. They tried to cover it up and said that it was a Cincinnati Plains officer, but no, it wasn't. It was an undercover officer who actually shot and killed him.
He probably missed 10 shots.
You say what? Say that again.
He probably missed 10 shots and put 5 in. He probably shot 15 times.
No, he shot about 5, 6 times. It's on video.
He hit him on every time he shot. Then if you know what I'm saying, like people run there and you shoot, why you got to keep shooting?
Okay, Taiwan Taylor said, I want to say get his people, but I don't feel they love the loved ones should be took out for his whole ass actions unless they were part at the same of the same agenda. I agree. Taiwan Taylor also said,
I don't like that though, but it is what it is. You feel me?
Yeah. And like I said, this may be a new precedent, when police officers start doing bullshit like this, unjustly taking motherfuckers' lives. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, only thing he was trying to do was get away. Your job is to try to catch a motherfucker, not to shoot a motherfucker in the back.
They've been doing that.
Yeah, and these are the words that they use. I fear for my life. But when we use those words, it's overlooked.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah, but yeah, I just want to talk about that for a second, and I just want to talk about, family, like I said, I ran into my cousin, was a surprise. It's been years since I saw him, but at the end of the day, family is family.
Oh, yeah, we wanted to speak on that one subject about how friends and family don't communicate.
Right.
After so long of not communicating. It's like after you reach a limit of not communicating, you just keep not communicating because you feel like, fuck it, I already ain't communicated this long. I ain't gonna communicate now. And we wanted to speak on that too.
Now I want to ask y'all that question. If you feel like you haven't spoke with family in years
or friends,
or friends, do you feel like that you shouldn't reach out to them at all? Like, fuck it, I ain't talked to this nigga or family, and in this long, like I ain't gonna call him now. I don't feel that way. I feel like family is family. You can. I'm the type of motherfucker you can reach out to me at any time. You know what I mean? Because family is family, and sometimes you always need somebody to talk to. You know what I mean?
Motherfucker reaching, dog. They reaching for something. Right? Is you gonna give them what they reaching for? Or you gonna be like, nigga, you ain't been reaching this way. And
I mean, right. I mean, but if you ain't been reaching out, I mean, it just all depends. If a motherfucker reaching out for some shit in the wrong, that's not right, and you realize that shit, then you're not gonna respond.
But I'm just saying, whatever it might, shit. Like I was telling you, people are different now, man. Shit, people be looking at everybody suspect now. Like somebody told me that one day, like a friend that I've known for years, and in certain situations I didn't trust him with my life because we ride bikes together sometimes.
Right.
So he told me that. He said, man, that just how it is. Like after you ain't been around, even if it's like 2 weeks, and you come back, right?
Right.
Motherfuckers gonna be looking at you funny and wondering like what the fuck you been on, or what you know what I mean? Like everybody just paranoid and looking at everybody suspect nowadays. So it's hard for you, to have any missing time around and then come back without a motherfucker trying to judge you or feel like you may be on some bullshit or it's a threat or anything.
No, I get what you're saying, but at the end of the day,
or you just coming trying to use them or
you know what I mean?
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You coming, everybody just gonna feel like you on some bullshit some type of way.
Right. No, a real motherfucker gonna recognize that in the beginning.
Yeah.
If a motherfucker that you ain't spoke to or seen in years, then all of a sudden this nigga come up out the woodwork, and then he come in, asking for shit, wanting to borrow shit,
Right,
off the top. Yeah, then that's when you gotta cut the nigga back off. Like, nigga, go missing for another 10 years. You know what I'm saying?
What?
You might have to go missing for another 10 years. But still at the end of the day, family is still family. Everybody goes through some shit. Everybody has problems. You know what I mean? He might be reaching out to you, for help, for a reason, so I'm the type of motherfucker that, I'm going to always try to help, family or friends out, but if I feel like I'm being used, then I'm going to cut your ass off. You'll never be able to come to me, then that person will never be able to come to me again.
Unless
you know what I mean?
Unless they come right.
Yeah, you got to come right, because like I said.
I realized I was on some bullshit.
Yeah.
Keep it real. That's all everybody be looking for at the end of the day. Even though it be hard for a lot of people to do, but at the end of the day, that's what everybody really looking for is somebody who gonna keep it real. Bro.
Yeah,
why we want a woman, a wife?
Right. Taiwan Taylor made a comment. He said, you might not talk every day like you used to, but let them know on a reach out that you still embrace them. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You gotta, and I don't talk to all my family all the goddamn time. You know what I mean? But when I do talk to them, it's love. That's what it's supposed to be like.
Right.
Because we
gotta have an understanding that now we grown. Now. It ain't like we kids.
Right. I was just getting ready to say that.
All this free time going on. Yeah. You ain't. Everybody got family, so now they got kids who at them and want shit. They got to go to work. They got responsibility. Then they want their own little time.
Right.
So a motherfucker got a busy life going on. So at the end time go by so fast. You know what I'm saying? So that's just how it is. But like you say, when a motherfucker do reach out, don't slap the hand away.
Yeah, no, you know what I mean? Listen, you never slap
until like he said, until you figure out like, oh yeah, they coming on that bullshit.
Right.
Then slap their ass away. But if they ain't on no bullshit and they just want to let you know, look, I know it's been a while, but I still fuck with you.
Yeah.
It's all love.
Because like I was getting ready, originally I was gonna say, family is always family. You grow up and you have your own family. You grow apart. But at the same time, it's still always love when you see family. And then and don't get it twisted. Everyone goes through something in their lives. And everyone always needs some everyone needs help at some point in their life is what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? So you can never turn your back, especially when family comes to you, for help. You know what I mean? Now
speaking on that though, cuz.
Hold on, let me say this, cuz, and I'm gonna let you talk. But you don't never let a motherfucker try to manipulate you, and you can kind of tell when a motherfucker coming to you trying to manipulate, the situation, and I would never let family, and don't ever let family just because their family try to take advantage of you, so in situations like that, you know, you got to realize what it is, but go ahead, cuz.
Right. To speak on what you were saying, but on the other end of it, that I was just researching something on the other day. Like when you strong, right? And you didn't put that breastplate and stuff on, and you ready for that battle, them the only ones that can get close to you.
Yeah.
You feel me? So if they weak enough for the devil to use them, then he will.
I agree.
And so then at that point, you got to do what you got to do to survive, and you know what I mean, and to keep them out your circle, cause you know what they own. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It be fucked up, but I mean that's just the truth about it. This is a spiritual battle. You know what I'm saying? And if you strong, it's got to be the ones who closest to you that can get you. Because you ain't even about to let no stranger, nobody from the outside even get that close.
No, and I agree with you.
You feel me?
No, I agree with you.
That's
100%.
dead.
It's always normally
outside is even about to get in the
closest
vicinity.
ones
You
that
feel me? So
to you that
it's got to be somebody who close.
right, and normally it's always somebody close. But I definitely want to give a shout out again to Taiwan Taylor. Make sure that y'all go over let me Topics and Tequila. Make sure y'all go over there to Topics and Tequila. Subscribe to their channel. Check them guys out. They always having some good things to talk about. Some good interesting content that they're always talking about over there. And I also want to give a shout out to my man Food Stamp. Antoine West Food Stamp, my homeboy. I've been growing up knowing for a long time. Give a shout out to those boys. They do a good job over there. So make sure you go over there and check them guys out. And like I said, it's been Freestyle Friday. Normally we go live from the setup. We normally do it a little different, but today I just want to come in, and I'm doing it from my phone today. Like I said, I ran into my cousin, we just went live, but we're gonna go in there and end it. I don't have anything else to add, cuz let them know what you got going on, where they can reach you if you want to add that.
I ain't got nowhere y'all can reach me at. But check this out. Did you hear about? I know you probably heard about Putin saying that Jesus was black, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Go ahead.
You heard about that?
Yeah.
I mean, why we ain't celebrating that?
I mean,
all this time that these motherfuckers been lying to us, got all this fake ass shit going on, and then he had the heart to get on national and be like, "Listen here, man, I'm gonna tell y'all the honest God truth. We been on some bullshit. Listen, motherfucker, black dog. You hear me?
Listen,
man, we supposed to have black Jesus everywhere around this bitch.
Yeah, well, listen, we live in.
You hear me with his nuts and dick hanging out there?
We live in a Western civilization where they dominate. They're not gonna portray, a black Jesus in a society.
That's why they.
So you got to. But that's definitely a good topic for another conversation. But like I said,
like Jesus everywhere.
Yeah, I agree. But like I said, I want to come in here and chop it up with you guys for a second. I appreciate everyone who commented, who interacted with us today. Definitely go over to Taylor House Publishing. Check out the videos that he put out there about the whole situation with Ryan Hinton that we were talking about. He put out great content. And I want to like I said, to give a shout out again to Topics and Tequila. They put out good content. Go over there and check those guys out. But I'm not going to hold you guys long. I just want to come over here and talk for a brief second. It's your boy Dame D, and I am out. Peace.
Peace.